Through scopes is Queez. Appreciate everybody's been rocking with the channel. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate it all. Right now, we're gonna talk about the most important MVP race ever. All right, I might be using a little bit of hyperbole there. A little hyperbole there, but this is a very important MVP race between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. Because we got to find out exactly how they're going to look at this award moving forward. Because I think this is a prime example of a situation where is it about the people that feel like MVP means the best player on the best team versus somebody that's having the best individual statistical season. I feel like this is a prime example of that right now. Because even when you had seasons that replicated something that Jokic did, like Russell Westbrook's season when he won. His team was like in the 6th spot, right? So, I mean, but that was such a monumental season, first triple-double season since, Oscar Robertson that, it was something that they couldn't resist not giving it to him for, regardless of where the team fell. But if you look at Jokic's season this year, you gave him the MVP for seasons when he did less. And you talking about a season this year when everything has went up. All his averages went up. He's taking even more responsibility than he's taking for this team. And he's been doing it, having games that we never seen. Right? 60, 60-point triple-double, 30, 20, and 20. And he's consistently every night putting up numbers that, we seen any other player have them. We'll be like, yo, this dude is the MVP of the league, right? But then you got Shai Gilgeous on the other side, who's literally on the best team in the league all year. Consistently, that team has played above standard. They damn near 28-1 against a whole conference. Like, you're looking at a team here that has dominated, and he is the fort. He's the head. He's the guy who's controlling everything. He's balling in on defense as well as his offense. So not only is he putting up Jordan pace scoring averages, yes, I said Jordan. I'm not comparing him to Jordan for everybody for those people that's born in the 80s and 90s. Look, I'm not comparing him to Jordan, but his scoring averages and his consistency of scoring 30 or more is Jordan-like. For sure. I don't care what you want. For sure. So if you got a guy that's doing that on a night basis, and if we want to take the approach of saying players that weren't expected to be great, they're having season-high seasons with him on the court, he should get credit for making them better, like Jalen Williams, right? Chet, he's already had the potential to do what he's doing now. Isaiah Hartenstein did a lot of these same things that he was doing for New York. But there's other players that took it. You could say Aaron Wiggins maybe have taken a step forward by looking at players like Shai Gilgeous, maybe Isaiah Joe. There's a lot of players that you could say probably benefited from him being on the court. So you got that, but if they decide to ignore that and all I just listed for Shai Gilgeous and give it to Jokic, I feel like that's going to do a huge disservice to the award. It is, because Jokic's team down there might be in the play-in. Let's put it there. They just fired their coach and GM. So clearly everything ain't going well there, right? But Shai Gilgeous, as I mentioned, has bought in on both ends of the court and has been doing it all year long. And I come from the standpoint that even though Jokic is having a season that we never seen, especially from his position, but just the efficiency, we never seen that before. Is the MVP really about just the stats of the individual player? I really just don't think it should be that. Because I think if you do it that way, it's a lot of guys that probably should have got MVP that won it, right? Think about the year that Rose won it over LeBron. LeBron had a better statistical season than Rose. But Rose's team performed better. And Rose was more of a shock, right? But, at the end of the day, LeBron had the better season. So what are you going to do this year? Can you really snub a Jokic season? The numbers he's putting up, can you really look at that and be like, nah, I can't give him the award? It would be so crazy. And we'll look back where I think if that did happen, they will look back and say he got robbed. I feel like no matter who gets it, but I feel like more on Jokic's side, they'll look back and say he got robbed. And I just think now you're going to draw the line on really what the award is about. Because, again, Shai Gilgeous has a better team. So if you want to look at team success and try to give him that nod over Jokic, he has a better team. Now, there's no excuse for the Jokic team in Denver because they got the same starting lineup damn near outside of, Christian Braun, switch him out for Pope. They almost got the same lineup that they went to the finals with 2 years removed, right, and won. They missing some key role players, but if you that dude, losing, Pope and Jeff Green and Bruce Brown should not cripple your team, especially when you got a guy like Christian Braun who has replicated some of that there because he's averaging, 15 a game. He's playing, really well in his role consistently all year. So we can't act like he's a scrub. And then you got Russ in there who, he had a bad game last week and, it led to some very hype, outlandish takes on his tenure there. But more times out of night, he's been really good. When he was starting for that period, he was having 2 out of every 3 games, he was having really good games. Right? So, again, they were able to make up some of that. Now, their bench is mad weak. Any squad that got DeAndre Jordan on it playing minutes consistently is a squad that don't really got much help or much options. And then they got other players on the bench who just aren't consistent, right? You're leaning on, what's his name? Is it Strawberry? One of these got Pickett. You lean on guys who are unproven, right? Dario don't really play. So you lean on certain guys there that are unproven in that role. Shai Gilgeous is dealing with guys who, you look at that whole starting lineup, you really don't see a weak link. Chet, Hartenstein, Williams, Dort, who is a defensive first team all defense, right? So they're dealing with guys who fit perfectly, no weak links, and then you go to their bench. They're dealing with Aaron Wiggins, who having a breakout year, Isaiah Joe, Caruso, a much better role players on their bench, right? So he has a better team, so of course they're going to have a better record. But do you blame? Does that weigh into how y'all look at the MVP though? Who has the better team? I don't think so because I've seen years where guys who have great statistical seasons and if the team didn't perform, they weren't considered. But these guys are having both crazy seasons that you just can't ignore, and the NBA is not going to do any co-MVPs, even though this will be the year to do it. They probably won't do it this year, but the reason I'm confident that they're going to give it to Shai Gilgeous. Y'all ever look at the MVP races for the past, let's say, 5 years or whatever? Normally, whoever's getting snubbed, finishes runner-up, they normally decide to give it to him. Like the years that Jokic was winning, MVP finished second 3 times. And he gave him a quote-unquote pity of MVP because he should have won one of those other ones. Shai Gilgeous finished second last year. This is going to be the year they decide to actually give it. They're not going to snub him twice. If he didn't finish second last year, they probably gave it to Jokic, but they're not going to snub me twice. That's just how they do it. They just not going to snub you twice. They going, they going to make, they did it. They snubbed and beat a couple of times, but I think that's why he ended up getting it. I think this year they're going to actually give it to Shai Gilgeous. Because how you not reward the best team? This team is on pace to win 70 games, and I mean they probably won 69. But again, how can you overlook that? And I think Jokic is having a great year. Again, I'm going to reiterate. But if I look at the Nuggets, y'all, be honest, they have one of the worst defenses in the league, and Jokic is a big part of that. And he's not the only part, but he's a big part. OKC has one of the best defenses in the league. Shai Gilgeous is not the main reason, but he's one of the reasons they do. So I got to look at it from team to team. What effect are you having on your team? Now, again, Jokic has to do everything, but even though he does have to do everything, he's still dealing with the same core of guys almost that he had when he had his championship run. Aaron Gordon is Aaron Gordon, one of the most best role players in the league. Michael Porter Jr. hasn't really hit his potential yet, but he still consistently gives you what he always gave you. And then Braun, like I said, stepped up this year. So, I mean, so for Denver to take this step back to the point where they had to get rid of their coach, and that's not a good look. Either the leadership is lacking or the team took a big drop off from expectation-wise or how they look, and the ownership feel like they had to cut ties, right? So I can't really give a guy that's dealing with all that MVP. I know y'all want to say, look, that's off-the-court stuff, and it ain't got nothing to do with Jokic. It got something to do with that team, and he's on that team. You ain't going to see the Thunder making no moves like that. You know why? Because they have an historic year with a player that's having an historic season. Shai Gilgeous broke his records too, man. As far as the consistency, as far as the 30-point games he had, he broke a record too with that. So again, that's where I'm leaning. That's where I'm leaning for his goal. But I think it's going to be super important. Again, I feel like the NBA is going to catch a lot of flack for whoever they don't give it to. And they always get flack. But I feel like when you look at the history checks back and look at Jokic's year, they're going to be like, how the hell this dude didn't get it? And you can average a triple-double and not get it. Remember, Russell averaged a triple-double again, I think either year after he won or a couple years after, and he did not win. It was like 22, 10, and 10 or something like that. And he did not win that year. So it's possible. It's possible to average triple-double and still not win. So for all those people who might be like, no way you can average triple-double and not win, it has happened. But Jokic is top 3 in 3 major categories. Like, how can you snub him? First player to be top, this is going to finish top 3 in scoring, assists, and rebounds. This is going to be this is going to be a very tough. Every time the longer this video go, I just keep thinking of more things that these guys are doing that's crazy. Like, it wouldn't be right to snub either one of them. Like, oh my God. But yeah, this is where we're going to find out. Is it an individual award or is it a team award? Like, does a team success factor into the MVP award? This will let me know. If they give it to Jokic, it doesn't really factor in that much. Not compared to individual. Or not that much. Or not really at all, really. Because, again, the Thunder has been killing it all year. They got a 12-game lead on the hardest conference in the league. Like, of all teams, where it's like 6 of them will finish with 50 wins or more. Like, this is... they've been dominating across the board on there. Like, now their record against certain teams in there, like 9-12. We talking about some playoff teams, right? So they haven't been dominating the whole West compared as they did the East. You can say they beat up on a lot of teams in the East to get that record that they got. Fair play, but everybody played the same teams. So, I mean, how much you going to really knock them there? So, let me know what y'all think, man. Again, I feel like this is going to be one of the most important MVP seasons, MVP races we ever seen. This is going to be one of the most important MVP races we ever seen. Because I don't know who going to win it. Again, I'm leaning towards Shai for the reasons I mentioned. But I can see them going either way. But let me know what y'all think. This is Queez. Appreciate everybody. If you still listen to the video, subscribe. We appreciate it all. I'm out.